Good morning. In my last video, we had started discussing the identification of minerals in thin section, that is on the basis of their optical properties, and in that I could discuss up to the various optical properties that are at, that are looked upon in your plane polarized light. Now in this video I will take you to those optical properties that are studied under cross-Nichols. Cross-Nichols, once we say, it means that both the polarizer and analyzer are in position. Now here you can see it that in cross-Nichols we just take that you can say that we identify whether the mineral is isotropic or anisotropic, maximum birefringence, polarization colors, extinction relief, and twinning. These are the various optical properties that we study in plane polarized light. Now third arrangement that is there is the coroscopic arrangement. That is, in that we study, that is the determination of sign, uniaxial positive or negative or biaxial. Then we estimate 2V, then dispersion and the sign of elongations. So these are the three arrangements in a polarizing or pathological microscope. Now the important for a learner or beginner of identification of rocks in thin section, we should have a sound knowledge that our minerals in general, they are classified into two categories, that is the isotropic minerals and anisotropic minerals. Isotropic minerals are those which in them the light vibrates with the same velocity in all directions, and for the minerals of the cubic system, minerals which crystallize in cubic system, they are all isotropic. The others in which light vibrates with different velocity in different directions, they are called the anisotropic minerals. And further, the anisotropic minerals are classified into two categories, uniaxial and biaxial. Uniaxial minerals means there is one optic axis or one direction along which there is no double refraction. The minerals of tetragonal and hexagonal system, or you can say the minerals which crystallize in tetragonal and hexagonal system, are uniaxial, whereas the minerals which crystallize in orthorhombic, monoclinic and triclinic, they are biaxial, means they have two optic axes, or in other words there are two directions in which you can say there is two directions of no double refraction. So likewise we have classified the minerals on the basis of the optical properties into isotropic and anisotropic. Isotropic minerals are generally metallic and they crystallize the cubic system. So for such minerals we cannot study which they remain dark. So for them there is you can say they are studied in the reflected light, that is the or microscopy. The light is reflected on the surface and the features that are developed and that have the characteristic, the minerals are identified on those bases. For a student of pathology, means those such minerals, your iron oxides, hematite, magnetite, such minerals, they remain dark in all positions. They are isotropic. Now, in anisotropic minerals, that the minerals of your uniques, that we can say, further the minerals are classified into two categories, that are uniaxial and biaxial. Uniaxial minerals, they have one optic axis, and the minerals of tetragonal and hexagonal system are uniaxial. Now for the systematic determination, or you can say because a rock is named on the basis of the minerals that are present. So once a thin section of a rock, or you have a thin section of a rock which you are going to identify, first of all you should have an idea of the minerals that are the, you can say, the felsic and the mafic minerals. Your rock forming minerals, they are broadly categorized in two categories, that is your felsic minerals and the mafic minerals. So in a rock, once before putting the slide under microscope, you just visualize with your eyes the slide and try to just have an idea that what percentage of the minerals are felsic and what percentage is the mafic. After that, just take a traverse of the slide through and through under the microscope. Don't restrict to a certain area or certain point. Then you will have an idea, the broad outline or broad estimate, that what are the main, whether the felsic are dominating or mafic are minerals and what minerals are there. Naturally, I will tell you that identification of, you can say, rock, that is something separate. Right now we are concentrating on the optical properties. So once we say the optical properties, the minerals that are rock forming minerals, they are categorized in two categories, that is your felsic and the mafic. The felsic minerals are light colored, they have low relief, and they are the minerals of your silica group, feldspar group or feldspatite group. Whereas minerals of mica group, amphibole group, pyroxene group and olivine group, these silicate minerals, they are dark colored minerals, they are the mafic minerals. So once you see the color under plain polar light of these minerals, naturally they will show some color. So once a mineral shows some color, make it that it is some mafic mineral. But once a mineral shows your light colored or colorless, take for granted it is some felsic mineral. So the identification of minerals, you should start with I will suggest that with the rejection method. Suppose a mineral is showing is a colorless, having low relief, forget about mafic minerals. Now concentrate on the felsic minerals. Now felsic mineral may be of the silica group, may be of feldspatite group, may be of feldspar group. Now further go for the next optical property. Say suppose that is colorless, having low relief, no cleavage. Naturally it is quartz. But on the other hand, suppose it is cloudy or turbid, right, showing some twinning, say Cassbar twinning, so it is an orthoclase. Say suppose it is showing your polysynthetic twinning, then it is in your plagioclase feldspars. So further means you should start with discriminating first into the category felsic and mafic, then to whichever category it belongs, then go further to that subgroups, and ultimately to finally a group, and further in a group which minerals. For example, in feldspars we talk. In feldspar we classify the feldspars into alkali feldspars and the plagioclase feldspars. Now the alkali feldspars, they have Cassbar twinning, whereas plagioclase feldspars, they have polysynthetic twinning. The shape of plagioclase feldspar is your blade shape or latch shape. So these are the distinctions. We can easily distinguish whether it is an alkali or the plagioclase. So don't directly what the student attempt, that just they after having a glance they try to name that mineral. Please don't do that. You first broadly categorize whether it is a felsic mineral or mafic mineral. Whatever it is, if it is a felsic, then go try to understand whether it is a silica, a quartz group mineral or feldspar group or feldspatite group mineral. Then further, if it is a feldspar, then which type of feldspar, alkali feldspar or plagioclase feldspar. Say suppose plagioclase feldspar, then further which type of, there are 6 members in plagioclase group: albite, oligoclase, andesine, labradorite, bitonite, anorthite. So depending upon a mineral within a group is further identified on the basis of their extinction angles, whichever group it may be. By and large, they have same optical properties, but a member of a particular group, say feldspar group or the pyroxene group or amphibole group, they are further identified on the basis of the extinction angle. Okay, so broadly I just say that if it is a colorless, it may be mineral of your say quartz, it may be mineral feldspar or feldspar. Say suppose it is showing some color, then you go for the cleavage. If it is showing one set of cleavage, it is of some mica mineral. Say same it is showing two set of cleavage and the cleavage are oblique, then it is amphibole. But if cleavage are perpendicular, two set cleavage, then it is member of the pyroxene group. The olivine group, they have irregular fractures instead of cleavages. So with this broad outline, you can categorize. Suppose a mineral is showing green color, having two set of cleavage, and they are oblique. Naturally, the mineral is of some amphibole group, mineral of amphibole group. Further in amphibole group, which mineral is there, then you go for the extinction angle. Similarly, in pyroxene group, say suppose mineral is showing some brownish color, having two set of cleavage. Cleavage are perpendicular. Naturally, the mineral belongs to pyroxene group. Further, which member of the pyroxene group, whether it is OPX, orthorhombic pyroxene, or it is clinopyroxene, that will depend upon the extinction angle. Your inerstratite and hypersthene, they have straight extinction, whereas your minerals of your CPX, that is clinopyroxenes, they make some they have extinction angle, oblique extinction, you can say. So that further they are identified. So have that concept. With this concept, in next our video or next our class, we will take individual rocks and how that are identified. First, what optical properties are studied, what textural features are noticed, then what are the different minerals and how that rock is identified, and finally what is the genesis of the rock. That we will take up in the next class. Thank you very much. This is all for today. Thank you.